Come on in, everybody. I left my tea in the living room. Oh, well. Come on in. I just had a cute laugh. Sometimes I just watch some shorts from people I follow, and they're always fun. Today, let me get the chat up. Today, Ray from Doss Farms, Chad's wife. Well, Chad was bush hogging, or we call it bush hogging. They call it brush hogging in Oklahoma. And there was a baby rabbit that must have been in a hole that came out of the hole. And when Chad came back, it was still there, but he didn't bother it. Well, Ray went up there, and she has a heart for critters, I'm telling you. And she picked up this little rabbit. This little rabbit was the size Samantha was when we got her. It was just the cutest little rabbit, but she knew she couldn't keep it because it was a wild animal. So they took it back to where they found it because there's probably a mommy somewhere. And they let it go. Just let it go. And that's okay because they will survive. They will survive. And then on another channel I watch, this young man is learning how to trap to save his animals because a bobcat was eating their guineas, and their guineas get rid of ticks and stuff, and he had caught a bobcat. And I remember many years ago, it was a flood was happening up in Kentucky Bend on the Mississippi River. And Justin was at my house, and he was weed eating around the house. And he went around to the back of the house. We had a little screened in porch and had a bag of dog food there. And he looks in the screened in porch, and it'd been raining a lot, and the door had swelled up a little bit, and there was a bobcat in the screened in porch. And Justin scared it. And I'm in the kitchen looking out the window, and just a flash. That bobcat, Justin slammed the door, and that bobcat sliced through the screen of the porch, took it out. I mean, just left. It was gone. Justin comes running in the house. Mama, did you see that? I don't think I saw it. It was just a blur. But it was a big old bobcat. And Leighton, this from Eddie Family Farm, he had caught a bobcat, and they had to dispatch it because it'd been killing its chickens and guineas. And it's just, when you're depending on your animals to feed you and to take care of you, you gotta take care of what's killing them. And it's not fun. It's not fun. Coyotes, it's not fun, but it has to be done. We've encroached on their property, and they're gonna do what they know how to do. Well, I was looking at another little feller. His name's Rhett, and he's from what is his homestead? I forget what his homestead is. Let me see. No, 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 no. See if I can find him another way. Chestnut Hills Farm. And he is the sweetest little feller. But his mom's name is Zoe. I forget what his dad's name is. But it was who you gonna be when you grow up? Who you gonna be? What are you gonna be when you grow up? And it was dress up day at school. And I think he's just in first grade. Maybe just kindergarten. I don't know. but he dressed up like a cowboy. Now, this kid lives in Alabama, and he wants to be a cowboy, and he's just adorable, just adorable. He knew what he wanted to be. Well, guess what? I never knew what I wanted to be. I was always interested in watching space flights and this, that, and the other thing, and thought I wanted to be an astronaut. Well, I was never going to make an astronaut. And I watched Challenger disintegrate, fall back into the ocean. People die. I didn't want to be an astronaut. I was grown by that time. But he knew what he wanted to be. Now, Proverbs 22:6 says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he won't depart from it. Well, if you got a child, and I've watched the Eddy family farm, they have 4 kids. And one of the little boys has difficulty. When they lived in the city, he could barely make a sentence. And now he is setting his own traps and gathering eggs and hatching chicks. And he's learning stuff. He's learning stuff. And it's just absolutely precious. But I never knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. I was good at anything I set my mind to because I was stubborn. I was determined and stubborn. I could keep books. I could work on air conditioners. I could, I could farm. I could refinish furniture. You name it. I've done it. I've done it. And I could be good at it. I moved to North Carolina and taught fly fishing. And I knew I could fish and I could catch fish and I could eat fish. But that's how I got my nickname, Fly Lady, was because I taught fly fishing. Yep, I did stained glass too. I made a living making stained glass. Made myself sick too. It's when I learned I was allergic to honey. But I could do something. I could hit a lick at a snake. I could do something. I've cleaned houses for people. I've washed the outside of campers for people just because they couldn't find anybody to do it for them. My arm wasn't broke. Well, cleaning fish is not hard. You just have to think of, had you rather trout, you don't really have to clean. You just have to gut them, stick some butter in them and some lemon juice, and you're good to go. Put them in some aluminum foil and stick them on a fire. You got dinner. So little Rhett wants to be a cowboy. His dad's a farmer, but Rhett is just as sweet as he can be, and his mama is precious. His daddy's nice too. But I only like to watch the little kid. And then last night, Chad and Ray had a little short. They have these 4-week-old baby goats that they've got to keep giving them milk. The mama rejected them or something happened to her. I don't know what. But the little boys, Carter and Adler, were feeding the baby goats, holding the bottle, letting them eat. And it's just precious. Kids being around critters is just important. We didn't really have critters growing up. Now, Granny had cows and pigs, We weren't really around them much. I think Granny was scared we'd get hurt. I fell off a horse at Granny's for the first time. Granny really never had dogs. I think she wanted critters that would put food on the table. But she grew a big garden. Have y'all been thinking about your garden? Anyway, y'all, what did you want to be when you grew up? Some of them have put some stuff in here. I could keep books. I could farm. I learned how to farm. Under necessity, I always kept the books for the farm. A detective. That's fun. My husband had to kind of be a detective being a judge, and he saw some bad stuff. But if one of your children shows an interest in something, help them. Help them. Maybe getting the children planting potatoes. That's one of the easiest things to plant. You just have to put the potatoes, make sure the ground's good and loose, and put some potatoes in the ground with some eyes growing out of them. And bam, just put some more dirt over. Oh, Paul at Whippoorwill Holler, he was telling how his daddy grew potatoes, and they put a an old tire in the yard, put the potatoes in it, and just as the sprouts would come out, they put some more dirt around it. Maybe put another tire on top of it. Go 2 or 3 high. So you can grow potatoes. It's fun. Some people have taken and grown 450 pounds of potatoes. I know one of my favorite podcasters is the Walker family, and they're in Oklahoma. And Gary is Cherokee, and he worked for the Cherokee Nation for 19 years, I think. And he and his wife, Cassie, have 3 children. And the first one, was their natural born son, Ranger. But the other 2 have come into the family through foster care. And foster care is near and dear to our family's heart. Justin has a sister-in-law who started fostering children in Memphis. And now we have Sophie, part of the family. Sophie's a beautiful 9-year-old girl. She got baptized a few months ago, maybe a month ago. And it's just beautiful. But Gary and Cassie got a new foster child this week, and they've named him Little Bear. They can't give his name or anything. You can't take pictures of them. You can't show their face. You can show the back of their head, their feet. But this little fella, he doesn't look to be more than about 18 months old. I don't think he has words too much yet. And Mazzy, who's 10, 11 10 or 11 years old, 10. She's just so excited to have this little baby in the house. But these people have done something really wise, y'all. They have prepared for when they might get a foster child because they have been drawn to this, especially in the Cherokee Nation. Mazzy and Ransom, the youngest, are both Cherokee, and Ranger's half Cherokee. Cassie is not Cherokee, and they've been called to be foster parents, and it's beautiful, y'all. They have to, I mean, we used to get calls in the middle of the night when Robert was a judge. It comes full circle of a child needed to be taken into custody because of a bad thing that's happened. And they would call at 2 or 3 in the morning, and Robert have to get up and answer the phone, and they'd have to say certain things so that he could grant them the ability to take the children into custody. And it takes a lot to take a child from their parents. And we've had many flybabies who have had their children taken away from them. And I share this story every once in a while about being in Salt Lake City at the largest crowd I've ever spoken in front of. And people were standing in line to get their book signed, and it's a great little story because the night before at dinner, Miss Jeannie, I think she's passed now. Miss Jeannie had asked me how we don't have much success in Utah of getting children reunited with their birth families. And she said, "You've sent out some testimonials in the past." And for some reason, I didn't travel with my computer back then. And I said, when I get home, I'll send you those testimonials. Well, standing in line was this lady, and she comes up to me, and it's one of the ladies who had written the testimonial. She had had 7 children taken from her. 7. I think it was 7. You know, I've slept since then. So, and she went through the Fly Lady system and got her kids back, got her children back. And then the next person in line was somebody that sent me a testimonial. And her husband had, how we say in the South, dropped a dime. Nobody knows what that means anymore, but had called social services on her. They had a special needs child, and he didn't think she was being taken care of, but social worker comes in. The lady invites her into the house. She's got dinner in the crock pot. She's got a calendar up on the wall that has doctor's appointments and physical therapy appointments and all that stuff listed. And she looked at this woman and she said, "You're doing fine. You're doing fine. Don't you worry." How precious. Well, I started screaming. I started screaming for my sister Patty. She was there with me. And I said, "Patty, find Jeannie. Find Jeannie right now and bring her here to me." And she did. Patty will attest to this. We had witnesses. And here were these ladies with skin on that Miss Jeannie could talk to, that could come to the social workers and do a workshop and say, here's what I did. Y'all, that wasn't my doing. It wasn't my doings. God had that happen. And I was right in the middle of it. God made that happen. So if you get called to get certified to be a social to be a foster parent, do it. If you get called to help a young person who we've got this testimony too, where this woman moved next door to one of my fly babies. And she moved and she was just overwhelmed. The house wasn't the greatest in the world, but it was all she could afford. And she went to her neighbor's house and she said, I don't know what to do. So they sat and had a cup of tea. And she said, don't you worry. We'll get this. We'll, she said, they're going to come and take my babies in a week if I can't get this house in order. So the whole neighborhood started working together, cleaning out their attics and storehouse, storage units. And in a week's time, even the social worker was planting flowers in the yard. So, y'all, don't give up. Don't give up. Just because you don't know how right now doesn't mean you won't know in a little while. Establishing one simple habit at a time is going to change your life. You're going to quit being overwhelmed with whatever comes your way, and you're going to be able to do what you need to do to take care of your family. Having dinner on the table, utilizing your crock pot, your bread machine, all of these things, letting them do the work. All you got to do is toss it. I watched somebody make a hash brown casserole. It was pretty much a Mexican taco casserole with hash browns and taco seasoning, and I don't know what else was in it. But it was amazing. She just threw it all in, let it cook, and then stirred it together. But Cassie and Gary, each child in their home, and they all have their own bedroom. So it's a 4-bedroom house. Each child has a bunk bed with a bigger bed on the bottom and a twin bed on top. And then that way, if the kids have somebody come for sleepover, they have an extra bed. Or if mama needs to stay in the room with them, Cassie can get in the lower bed and still be able to take care of them when they're sick. It's just a beautiful. Now they got a little fella, little bear, and they may have to go to Walmart and get him clothes and stuff, but they had the little thing that you put up into the bed to keep them from falling out of bed. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful setup they've got. They don't really, they didn't really, they had to go get a car seat and a stroller because he's little. But it's just beautiful to have this bunk bed set up so everybody has room for an extra person. So if they got a girl child, it could sleep in the room with Mazzy, and then an older child could sleep in the room with the 12-year-old. And Ransom's 6, and he was so excited to have somebody in the room with him. It's that giving heart. They're prepared. Cat Cassie goes to work. She is the athletic director for the Christian academy that the kids go to, and she coaches. And Gary worked for Cherokee Nation for 19 years, but he quit working last year because he has this YouTube channel with three or 400,000 people following him, and they have farm animals, wild pigs that they try to get rid of, and they go deer hunting. So y'all check out my favorite little podcasters. They always doing something good. They're doing something good. I mean, Eddie Family Farm, he's a sheriff's deputy. And he quit being a sheriff's deputy, but I think he went back to being a part-time sheriff's deputy. He used to work with the canines, and they rescued a dog the other day. A dog that was just skin and bones, a pit bull. And it had to be put down because it was eat up with heartworms. So give your critters their heartworm medicine. So y'all, be good, kind, and sweet. Here's an update on Jack. He went into surgery at 11:20 while we were doing our weekly home blessing. We said a prayer for him at first, and he was just going into surgery when we did our prayer. The surgery was going to last 6 hours. So we won't hear from Kathy until 5:30 or so, or 6 o'clock. As soon as I know something, I'll let y'all know. So y'all, if you got YouTube, you can cook. I've made cooking videos. A bunch of people make cooking videos, short videos. I know you have attention span problems. Real fast videos to get things done. So y'all, be good, kind, and sweet. Be good to yourself by being prepared for anything that might come your way. Like I said this morning, put your shoes on. This month's habit is getting dressed to lace up shoes every day. And it's so easy to do when you have your clothes picked out. I pick my clothes out right before I get in the bathtub every evening. Be kind to others by being willing to help out when you see a need, like the flybaby that helped her neighbor who didn't know what she was going to do. They furnished that house with leftovers in everybody else's house. They got it cleaned up, turned it into a cute little home for these kids. And let the joy that is in your heart show the world who you are. A child of the Most High, the only living God in the universe. Y'all, tomorrow is voting day around here. And for 3 years now, I take my driver's license with me to vote. And they say, oh, we don't need that. Well, guess what? Tomorrow, they're going to need my voter's ID. They're going to need my driver's license for me to vote. And I am so excited. So I've made an appointment with Robert. He's going to take me to a voting is just around the corner from our house and our community center. I'm excited. I love you all. Go vote. I'm not telling you how to vote. I'm just telling you to go vote. It's important. It's Super Tuesday. Anyway, I love you all. I will see you later.